Councillor Ashmore.
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm choosing, first of all, how this came about. And I've always thought that this is maybe a housekeeping sort of thing, but I always thought that staff were given direction through council as a whole, but this came through the it doesn't matter whether it's the environmental committee or agricultural committee or heritage committee. I'd always thought that it came to council first, and then council gave direction to a director, in this case Director Hawley, to write the report. But anyways, that's fine. No. It's here, and we're going to discuss it. So I'm speaking against the motion, and I think, you know, it's good. It's democracy here when we can disagree on some things, and we're not going to agree on everything. So this is where I don't agree. I think we need to have both sides of this story, both sides of this issue. It's not a story, it's an issue, pertinent issue to everybody. And we need to have somebody like, for example, Enbridge come here and explain to us, you know, their side of the story. And I'm not saying that this committee, the two speakers that came up before, they had good intentions and good people, but however, I think that a lot of the things that were said have to, you know, be discussed here. First of all, people want choices in their energy. They don't want to be told that they can't have natural gas, and I'm very pro-Canadian, very pro-Canadian energy. I've always been. It's mentioned here that Quebec, you would buy hydroelectricity from Quebec. By the way, Quebec was 50 years ahead of us when they did the James Bay project. It was an amazing project what they did. But they do not have extra electricity. They do not have any extra electricity surplus to sell. They need enough what they have in their population. And they also have contracts with Newfoundland and some U.S. states. So I did a little bit of research, so I did. And I went on the Independent Electricity Systems Operator website. So that's the IESO.ca. And as of today, as of 11 o'clock this morning, Eastern Standard Time, because Ontario has two time zones. We have Eastern, most of our provinces in the Eastern time zone, and some of it's in the Central time zone. So today's use is 19,396 megawatts. A megawatt is 1,000,000 watts. We're using 19,396 megawatts today in Ontario. And today, to get that energy, where we're sourcing that energy, nuclear is providing us today 9,461 megawatts. Natural gas is second at 3,900 megawatts in hydroelectricity. So that's 3,535. We get hydroelectricity from Ottawa area, from northeast of Dryden, and of course Niagara Falls. So those are the big three. And then the number 4 is solar, that's 309 megawatts. Wind is 217 megawatts, and biofuels are 17 megawatts. So it shows that to get rid of, to stop building stop building natural gas plants or shutter them would be certainly detrimental to this province. And the IESO told me personally, I told them, they said, if we ever did this, there will be guaranteed rolling blackouts in Ontario, just like California. If we talked about, there was a mention, and I'm just going to go over because some of the things here are mentioned and they're right in front of us, so we have to talk about it. They talk about fracking. If you've ever been to eastern Pennsylvania, which I have, and North Dakota and southern Manitoba and southern Saskatchewan, fracking has technology that is the most environmentally friendly nowadays than it was many years ago. And we can't be using that in a negative way for our energy. Solar and wind. I'll give you an example, like in Texas, northern Texas, generally they're mild winters, but 2 years ago they had a really cold snap, and there was frost and ice even as far south as Houston, which is never heard of before, but they were in desperate straits, and you know, they were putting up so many. There was an example of the wind power that it failed on them. Solar farms, I know I live in between 2 solar farms. You know, the amount of green space, the thousands of acres that solar farms have taken away land, topsoil's been scraped. not to mention the wind and wind turbines that have killed mammals. Undersea life in the east coast of the U.S. is just atrocious. So let me wrap up here. We talk about net zero. I'll give you an example of net zero, what happened in net zero. And it's on a smaller scale, but it does correlate to this country. In Sri Lanka in 2019, they went to net zero. And, you know, right now they had 30%, 40% less agriculture, less food. That's led to just about famine and an overthrow of the government. It's just things of a great country, nice country that it was economically. It's just in straits like you wouldn't believe. Now, in Sarnia, we have a strategic reserve for natural gas, and it's in case we get a really cold snap here in Ontario, we have a strategic reserve, and that would power enough power for 3 million people in Ontario. So that's important that we have that strategic reserve. And if we get rid of these gas plants, we're not going to have that strategic reserve anymore. So with gas, everything's underground, and it's good for the environment. The pipeline's underground. We're building a $70 million natural gas expansion from Omimi to Bobcaygeon, and it's going to be beneficial to well over 5,000 people along the way. And not that that's going to be stopping or anything, but I mean, you see the benefits of natural gas. So I just think that I'm tired of seeing our energy being ridiculed and you know, talked down. We should be proud of our natural gas and not. And it's something that, as a Canadian, I'm very proud of our energy sector, and you know, not to mention the jobs, but the sustainability of our peoples and our businesses. So I'd like to ask for a recorded vote, if I could please, on this, because I really think it's important to show people out there that, you know, I do care about them as far as their energy, their choices. We're not telling everybody they have to have gas, natural gas. They have different types of energy, but we can't say that you're not going to have gas and we're going to say that's it, no more natural gas plants to be built. So that's sort of where I stand on it, and I think a lot of people would agree with me. Maybe not here in the council chamber, but that's okay. I think I got my point across here. So I think at this time, this here, even though it's well intentioned and they did the right thing, they put this together, and but I don't agree with it, and it's just not something. I think it's very un-Canadian, this here. So I'll vote against it.
Thank you. Councillor Warren, did you want to sum up?
Absolutely. I know there are a lot of climate change deniers everywhere. And even the government of Ontario and the federal government, they're moving towards nuclear because of greenhouse gas emissions. And I understand, yes, we do need energy, but this is a stepping stone. And gas is just not the wave of the future. And the world is burning up. And if people don't realize this, it's not all arson like some people would say. It's climate change. Look at Greece. Look at everywhere. Anyway.
Quiet.
It's real, folks. Climate change is real. And so this is a step towards helping lower our greenhouse gas emissions. We have the Healthy Environment Plan, which also has adaptation in it. And we're going to have to adapt to all the changes that are coming forward because of climate change. We're lucky here, but other areas have not been so lucky. And who's to say that we don't get a big flood? It can just, that's part of climate change. It moves around and we get these huge rivers that just sit there, atmospheric rivers, and then they just let go and they rain and they rain and they rain and they flood. So it is real, folks. And this is just a step. I realize we need, we already have gas. So this is like to stop expansion of gas. And this is a stepping stone. So I hope you'll support the resolution from through Richard Hawley and the Environmental Advisory Committee and all their hard work that they've done. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, recorded vote asked.
Councillor Warren.
In favor.
Councillor Perry.
In favor.
Absent is Councillor Yeo. Councillor Joyce.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Richardson.
In favor.
Councillor Ashmore.
Opposed?
Councillor McDonald.
In favor.
Quiet. Councillor Smeaton.
In favor.
Carried.
Quiet or leave, your choice.
Carried.
In favor. Motion is carried.